Hello and welcome to Ring Takes here, episode 60. We're on 60 now, so we reach a nice round number, big number, getting close to the big 100, 40 episodes away. But I thought, though, the theme would be purple today because of a great showing from AEW with AEW Dynasty. And, of course, we're going to go over our Raw recap as always. But let's get into it. AEW Dynasty, what I can see from what I saw was just an absolutely great show. Great wrestling, and for once, AEW using controversy to turn it into a positive. But we'll get into that. Let's start off right off the bat, obviously, with match of the year: Ospreay versus Daniel Bryan. Will Ospreay versus Daniel Bryan. When these two guys are getting in the ring, it's going to be high-level affair, high-level contest, hard-hitting, trend-sending, lifting the sport up of just a pure wrestling, all heart, all give. What do you guys think about this match? Classic match where Ospreay picks up the win over Daniel Bryan in an instant classic.
Well, I mean, you pretty much summed it up there when you describe how great this match was. It definitely was an instant classic. I mean, from the very beginning, just listening to the crowd atmosphere before the guys had even locked up, they were already chanting, this is awesome, and then further down in the match, they're chanting, "We're not worthy." So just the first of all, the crowd atmosphere for this match to start it off was just impressive. And also in the beginning of the match, like the first 2 minutes where they had those stalemates of them countering each other's moves. I mean, you could definitely see the high caliber of wrestling ability between the two. And you would definitely clearly see the strength of both performers. Bryan Danielson being kind of a mat technician, and Ospreay being the and having a lot of aerial offense. So the combination of those styles was definitely very, very impressive to watch. But the very end, or like the last 5 minutes where they built to it. When you talk about the dual pinfalls, and then I think Bryan Danielson did a German suplex, and then Will Ospreay flipped through it. Then he goes for his finish. Bryan ducks it, and then Bryan hits his finish, and then for a 2 count. Some of these finishes, and then obviously the very end where he hit that Tiger driver, which
Tiger 91.
Yeah, Tiger 91 driver that Bryan sold so well that everybody thought he was legitimately hurt. And then to hit the hidden blade for the finish. I mean, this is a match of the year candidate. This is definitely better than the match Ospreay had with the Takeshita, which is saying a lot because that match in of itself was also a tremendous match. So now here we are, Ospreay and AEW, and his first 2 pay-per-view matches are matches of the year. So that definitely from an in-ring quality, Will Ospreay is what he says he is. It was a tremendous match. One thing that I found I was very interested by is that this was a different kind of match for Ospreay in the sense that a lot of his matches of the year, whether it was in New Japan or in a TNA or such, there were a lot of fast-paced matches, aerial matches. I mean, this was actually one of his matches where he actually slowed it down with a veteran Bryan Danielson, which is something I found very, very interesting, which shows that now that he's competing in front of a U.S. audience, and that he can adapt his styles, which is only going to help AEW down the line with him being the premier star there. But yep, definitely a match of the year candidate.
Yeah, no, this is definitely a great match. Like you guys said, I think what Brian said was right. This was I think with Ospreay, the people we've seen him wrestle, like Omega, Takeshita, they're all very fast-paced, that New Japan style, hard-hitting. This was also hard-hitting as well, but it was it was slower paced, and there was a nice story built into it. They're obviously showing their technical wrestling intelligence in the ring, obviously how great Daniel Bryan is. And obviously Will still does that fast-paced offense, but he had to play a different game with Bryan, and I think it just showcased how well he can go with the best. And obviously, this was definitely one of those dream matches and the fact that they even announced it that this is a dream match right before it started, it definitely was.
Because this match was supposed to happen before, right?
Maybe
I
when
think so.
right before. Actually, no, because
wasn't this supposed to happen
Oscar wasn't
like
here
Wrestle
yet.
Dream?
Oh no, that was
It might have been Forbidden.
No, that was Zack Sabre Jr. You're talking about, Daniel. That match was supposed to happen with Bryan Danielson, but Bryan Danielson.
Oh, okay, I'm getting mixed up. Okay,
that was that match.
Yeah,
wrong UK guy. My bad.
So yeah, it was just I don't know. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time watching this match. I'm not gonna lie, the ending of that match, I really thought Bryan was injured. I thought he like dislocated his shoulder or something. I thought he was literally like, my shoulder's out the socket, because it wasn't just like the ref was just like, hey, you okay? It was like everybody was trying to come in. But at the same time,
I don't think the landing was as bad.
It wasn't a bad landing at all. He landed the proper way.
Yeah.
I watched the match back.
I don't know. For some reason, when I saw it, it kind of looked like it was like when he came down, it was like. So I don't know if he just like rotated, but it kind of, to me, it looked like his like shoulder like either dislocated or popped out the socket or whatever. That's why I was like, oh shit. So that's why I thought he was really hurt. But then like if it was a work, then I mean they played it off perfectly with him like turning to the crowd, and then he's like, oh look, he's sitting up, boom, hits him with the back of the elbow and everything. But what just threw me off was that he was just like Will himself was like, oh crap, is he really hurt? That's why I was just a little thrown off by the ending, because I was was it actually an accident? Where does it work? I really don't know. And I mean, they did show stuff afterwards, which kind of made it seem like maybe it was a work, but I don't know. But definitely a great match. I think it is getting time for. I mean, he can still go, but I think Bryan Danielson's time is coming soon, because I don't think this man can afford any more injuries, and hopefully it isn't a real injury. But if it is, it's like, how many more can he take? But I mean, the man's also still in great shape too. But don't want to see him, risk his whole life again, just for us.
Yeah. All right. So, Lucy, sorry to cut you off, but this is his last year as a full-time wrestler. So, so he probably does have the mentality to go all out, because he's not going to be wrestling full-time anymore.
I mean, but he can still do appearances. I mean, he can wrestle 3 times a year, 4 times a year.
He's gonna wrestle Ospreay again, right? Like he's not just gonna walk away after that. Like, you got to go get your win back. Yeah, I think if there's a way for Daniel Bryan to go on a shorter schedule or whatever this time period where he's going to probably go away by the end of the year, right? What better way to have a 3-fight series against Ospreay? Like, unless Kenny comes back in some capacity or something like that. But just off this match alone, and what you guys were saying, of course, is true. Just styles make fights. Styles make fights. And this was just a different level of fight. We already know what Daniel Bryan can do, but Ospreay, we know he's one of the best performers in the world. But to change his style and wrestle a different style and slow down his pace, like you guys were saying, that was most impressive to me, because people just think he's a spot guy. He's going all out. He's hard hitting. But he was actually able to change his style a bit in this match. And again, what Brian said about that being good for AEW, because now he can literally go wrestle anybody. He can go wrestle anybody. You start at the top with Daniel Bryan, who's legendary wrestler in ring. So you can just trickle down that, and just, I love the way they sold in the match. I love the way how they were going at each other. They were kind of milking the elbow versus the knee close to the end of the match. I loved how they milked that and loved how they showed that. Just highly impressive stuff. It's just something that you got to see. There's really nothing else there's no words that can do it justice. Like those type of matches, it's like Shawn and Undertaker. Like, it's great wrestling theater. And those guys performed really well. And kudos for those guys for doing it. Kudos, man. Kudos. Yeah. And of course, we hope Daniel Bryan is okay. Bryan Danielson is okay. We hope he's okay.
He is okay. Like I said, because we're recording this on a Wednesday night after Dynamite. I don't want to spoil it since you guys haven't seen it yet. So
yeah.
So,
we'll get because I just looked at my phone and saw it. So if Lewis hasn't caught up yet, then...
No.
Yeah.
All right, then we'll hold it.
I don't want to ruin it for you, Lewis.
All right, but let's get into a new champion. Swerve Strickland defeats Samoa Joe to become the new AEW World Champion, their first African-American champion. I can't even put into words how proud I am of Swerve Strickland, from basically being a cast-off from NXT, WWE, and going to AEW and trying to make a name for himself, building himself up organically, and finally getting this moment. What do you guys think about his win over Samoa Joe in this highly anticipated matchup?
You can go ahead, Lewis.
Yeah, this is a great moment, and Swerve is somebody I'm not going to say I've watched his whole career. I obviously saw him come into NXT. Just seeing what he could do. I thought he was a great talent. Then you just see the evolution. I feel like he started to find himself a little bit towards the end of NXT, then started with the whole Hit Row, which, had so much potential that just was not utilized. But, that was a different era. We're in a different era now. But just the fact that, he made the move to come here, come to AEW, and like Daniel just said, organically just, I feel like in the beginning, he still had a good presentation and, started with the groups. I know he had the stuff with Keith Lee, which I was a fan of. Then it kind of, got a little wishy-washy there, but then, from the death match he had with Hangman Page, I knew he was a star right then and there. And I was like you can't deny what he's doing, and for him, to put in the work, and, I wasn't 100% sure if they were going to do it. Like I was talking to Brian about this ahead. I'm not a little surprised, but I'm like, I'm very happy that he's a champ and that, he can be the very first African-American AEW World Champion. But I don't know, something about, I was a little surprised that, Joe's reign was cut a little short, after I think only 2 defenses or whatever.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, good build up. I look at that as Joe, he did what he needed to do, right? He created, he helped create a new star, right?
No, for sure. I don't know. I feel like every person that's held at least the AEW, world title has had
a run.
I haven't seen as short of a run as that, But I mean, if the whole sole purpose was just to, build him up, I'm not mad at it. I think I just kind of wanted a little bit of more build, more of the chase, I guess. But sometimes I guess you don't need that. But definitely very proud that he's made it. He's climbed that mountaintop, but he definitely well deserved.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as a fellow black man, I always love to see us strive for success, and to echo both of your sentiments. I was also very proud to see Swerve finally win the AEW World Title. And the crazy thing about it is when you think, I thought about this earlier, and I realized he's the first signing, first WWE signing that they kind of made, in a sense, because if you look at all the other guys that signed from WWE,
very true.
Like Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson, a lot of these guys, they were already established as top stars in WWE. Swerve, the most success he had in NXT was the North American title. So he was a well-established mid-card guy.
Yeah.
So he's the first WWE signing that they actually took as a mid-card guy, and now he's their top guy. So that's something very very interesting when you think about it. But it also shows, how much he stepped up since the couple months ago. Lewis mentioned the death match with Hangman Page. I mean, the feud itself with Hangman Page kind of got everybody on
eyes on him.
A top guy. I mean, we definitely saw it beforehand, but I think everybody kind of.
I think people who are watching AEW week to week saw what Swerve was becoming, and that just put a stamp onto the masses in the wrestling community, right? Like the people that actually start watching him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I feel as though it could have been a more special moment, just a small nitpick. But I mean, obviously, since we watched so much wrestling, and WrestleMania was a couple weeks ago, and we saw that finish. Obviously, your mind automatically goes to compare the two, even though that you really shouldn't. But aside from that, I'm glad Swerve finally accomplished that. And like I said, he was the one guy to step up when they had all of those injuries, when everyone was down and they needed someone to step up. They called on Swerve, and now that he's well established as the world champion, it's very interesting to see how they're going to book him moving forward, especially with all of this talent on the roster. So I can only hope that they book this reign properly.
That's all we're looking for, right? And I'm just instantly thinking that he's going to just go into a feud with Hangman Page, right? Like there's unfinished business. The story's already right there. If they want to keep this hot while trying to build contenders in the background, he should just pick up with Adam Hangman Page and just carry throughout the summer, right? Like that's the ideal process I'm looking at it from. But I just don't want him to have a good title defense that we know he's going to win moving forward. But on the match, it did what it needed to do. They got the title on Swerve, which everyone was wanting for the longest time. And just kudos to Joe for carrying the title and being there and being a strong warrior, a strong cog for AEW over this time, right? Because when you think about Samoa Joe, again, once he left WWE, he kind of felt like, okay, we don't know what Joe's going to go into. He's probably going to go into a little bit more of a background role. But he went into AEW. Was it the TNT champion, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And carried that for a little bit and then carried on and then got back into the main event scene at a time when they really needed somebody to step up. And he stepped up for them for a while since CM Punk left. So kudos to him for doing that. As we're speaking on Swerve, he's the first person to counter the no. That Samoa Joe's the walk away that he does.
Yeah, that was
Swerve landed on his feet.
So
Swerve doing that was awesome to see that, and it was kind of like it's showing how smart Swerve is. Like, hey, I studied you, I know what you do, and just seeing that is just seeing the growth that Swerve has had. And again, in NXT, we didn't see this. Like NXT, we saw him. Hey, he's going to eventually move up and be a guy on the main roster, maybe a mid-carder, maybe move up at some point one day. But AEW, as Brian said, the ability to finally take somebody that was a WWE cast-off and not a person that's already made name, and for him to do it organically with Prince Nana and the Embassy in his way and his style, like that's awesome to see. It's just good to see AEW finally get a win. I feel like this is a show that we're going to continue to talk about, that AEW finally got a win after it looked like a bunch of L's, like a bunch of problems with their company and all the stuff. This show, Swerve winning, shows the growth of that company despite everything else going on. So definitely kudos to Swerve and Joe. They put on a good performance. Tough to follow up Ospreay and Bryan, but it was a pretty damn good match.
I still need to know where the hell Prince Nana came from. Like, I don't like.
Wasn't he in Ring of Honor?
Yeah, he was in Ring of Honor, managing that stable, the Embassy, and then when Tony Khan bought Ring of Honor, then AEW programming. And
that's why I never understood. I was like, is he like one of those? Like, is he like what's his name? Stokely or whatever. What's his name?
Like
Yeah,
a manager.
Stokely,
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially he's a manager. Yeah.
Shit, can I just become a manager? I want to become a manager.
Wrestling, I've been saying.
Nah. I mean, you probably could. I mean, you're taller than like half of the roster, so you probably could get away.
You can take a bump. You spell a little bit.
Like, why aren't you wrestling now? I just want to be manager.
I just want to be manager. I just signed the checks, baby.
Yeah,
I just signed the checks. No, but managing, again, we always talked about it. Like, managing needs to be in wrestling. Like, it matters to a high degree. Paul Heyman. Like, yes, you need that. You need those type of guys to be the mouthpiece or the instigator or the guy that gives the wrestler the rub. Like, you need that in wrestling. And this worked like a glove, as different as we see as Swerve is serious. He's been serious since these interactions with Adam Hangman Page, since he's been chasing the title. And Prince Nana is that good opposite effect. It's the comedy thing, but it works. But it's good to see Swerve become the champion, man, and I hope he has a good reign. I hope he has a good battle with Hangman Page going forward. I hope that happens. But we'll see what happens, man. I'm just happy for Swerve, happy for AEW. Good win for them. Mm-hmm. Now let's move on to what Eric Bischoff says. Controversy creates cash. The Young Bucks picking up the AEW tag team titles, becoming the third. This is the winning the titles for the third time in AEW, the first 3-time winners of the tag team titles. Against FTR in a good ladder match. Ladder matches, you can't lose with a ladder match. I just feel like all ladder matches are good. I don't feel like you can have a bad one. But what do you guys think about this and the returning of Jack Perry in this match?
All right. I just want to say, as far as like the entire card goes, no, with the exception of one match, in ring wise, the whole show essentially delivered. So there wasn't like really like one really bad match with the exception of maybe one that was a disappointment. So like Daniel said, you can't really disappoint with the ladder match. Falls into the category of organized chaos. So it has its place in a wrestling. So it's FTR and the Young Bucks, so you obviously see the chemistry between the two teams. I liked that during the match there was a lot of callbacks to their previous matches, like when they took off Matt Jackson's shoe, reminiscent of the first match. When Dax Hart, I think it was when Cash Wheeler at the very end tried to do that dive through the ropes, and ended up crashing through the table. Reminiscent of the first match where he took a risk and ended up costing them. And then I forget what happened to Dax Harwood, but he got cut and he got cut bad. Like that. I forget what I think it could have been the ladder, or I forget what happened. But another part of the match when he gave I think it was Nick. The pile driver on the ladder, and he kind of slipped a little bit first.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, all right, okay. I was like, whoa, yeah, almost got him there. Yeah. So a couple of other things that I noticed, like at the very beginning, before they even locked up, the crowd tried to start a CM Punk chant, but they got drowned out immediately. Which in a way I was kind of happy about, to show that, like, yeah, bro, we're over that shit. Let's move on. This is our show. But I love the quick start in the beginning. I mean, like you said, like I've said, you could clearly see the chemistry between the two teams, and then obviously the very end with Jack Perry coming out, which a lot of people predicted. As soon as he appeared, it was just like, okay, yeah, we know this is him. I mean, this is them. I mean, me personally, this is them, trying to tie up loose ends from the obviously the video that was shown, at least trying to take it and make it into a positive. And according to the crowd, it definitely was a positive. As soon as he took the mask off, the crowd popped for it. So you could definitely see that, that Jack Perry's kind of getting some sympathy and love from the audience now as a result of all this. So definitely is a positive in that mindset. And Lewis, like I said, Lewis, I'm not going to ruin it for you, but they also did something else with this. that when you see it, I don't know how you're gonna react to it, but just when you see it, it's gonna be very interesting. But
this was something that definitely worked in their favor, right? Like Jack Perry coming back, right? Like, and who were friends with CM Punk, FTR. So you continue that storyline, a branching storyline. I don't know if he's just going to be a thorn in FTR's side now, or what's happening with the latest developments tonight. But ultimately, I think it was good. It definitely served its purpose. It was the right way to do it, especially with the Young Bucks being the EVPs of AEW and having that type of pull to bring. They can use that as in the storyline. Hey, we brought back Jack Perry to be our minion or whatever the case may be, or just to cause havoc or whatever the case may be. But ultimately, just a great match. You know what the Young Bucks are going to do in these type of matches, especially with FTR, who are, again, contrasting styles. With these two guys going high flyers of Nick and Matt, and FTR more ground-based, hard-hitting wrestling. So it was good just to see that from that standpoint. And I'm just enamored with Jack Perry, right? He was damaged goods, right, in the wrestling world. Like, nobody thought he was going to be able to do anything. Goes to New Japan. Everyone's like, oh, he's going to be a cast-off there. Was able to create a little buzz with his interests. I believe they were in Chicago. Was it a couple weeks ago? And he had the Chicago flag, and I think he ripped it or something like that in Chicago.
Yeah. He came out with the Chicago flag, and then he ripped it, and then it revealed the back of his jersey, which said back of his jacket, which said Crimea River.
Yeah, Crimea River. Yeah. So like just all that stuff, just like he's able to do that and create that little bit of heat, and he's back in AEW. So I don't know if that was just a plan to send him away for a little while and then bring him back. But ultimately, it worked for AEW. But the Young Bucks pulling out the win, continuing to change tag team wrestling again, right? Like they're going to be in power now and have a different.
Are they though?
Hey! They're EVPs. They're EVPs. Let's show some respect.
Oh, look at the man that doesn't even want. Now he wants to show respect. Don't give me that bullshit.
Yes.
Hey!
Lewis, just watch Dynamite.
I know, and I plan to.
That's all I'm gonna say. Just watch Dynamite.
Okay. Now, and I already know Dan's gonna criticize me for this, but I don't care. I'm gonna say it either way. I will say, I was not looking forward to this match only because, prior to the whole like the video footage reveal, which I thought was a whole mistake, but like you guys just discussed, I was impressed with the reveal. I was impressed with that they actually brought back Jack Perry. I was like, holy shit, like he's here. I thought the man was like, done with AEW, with him being in New Japan, tearing up his contract and, I guess kind of blurring the lines of, is he, he's been requesting his release and they're not talking to him and blah, blah, blah. Was this the whole plan the whole time? Who knows? Or did they just kind of come up with this like last minute? It worked. I think my only issue is not with the match. I thought the match was good. My only thing is going into this, I just didn't see the need for another FTR Young Bucks match because this was the fourth time that they're going after each other. So now it's just tied up. So I'm like, I don't know
how the AEW does it. It takes 5 matches to end a feud.
Apparently. and plus, in this case, because the matches always deliver, it doesn't really matter as much to me. I only don't like it when they just keep doing, or whether this is in any wrestling promotion, when they keep doing the same match two or three times, and the match is only decent. Like the times when they had like Cena and Orton a bunch of times.
Orton so many times. It was like 5 pay-per-views or something that.
So you don't want Nick Jackson taking on Dax Harwood in a singles match.
Do you?
Up to each other.
Do you?
I think it's a very entertaining matchup on paper.
Oh, shut! I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. See, you need that video because this man is lying. He is lying through his teeth.
Should I try it? I don't want to mess up the stream, but I'll try.
Nah, I don't want this is just my thing. It's like because leading to this match, it was a tournament, and you know what? I do get like the Young Bucks position. They're the EVPs. They're the heels. They're using their power to get pull and blah, blah, blah. It's just they've kind of been like, I feel like, at least from the beginning of AEW, I feel like there was a plethora of tag teams. Like early on was like, Jack Perry's group. I forget what the hell they're called. The Dinosaur Express. What the hell were they called?
Jurassic Express.
Jurassic Express. I just felt like there were so many other tag teams. You had the Best Friends. You had Top Flight. You had all these, and it's just like, how are we still this far in? It's still Young Bucks and FTR. I'm not knocking them because I still love FTR. But I was just like, I don't know. I felt like early on their Horde thing was like the main focus was tag team wrestling. And I feel like it's kind of gotten away from that. And it's just like, well, here we go again. We got a big pay-per-view. Let's just get, our top 2 tag teams and just have them go at it again. The only credit I will give is there was an interesting story to it, and that they pulled it off with the whole Jack Perry thing. Congrats. I just hope that going forward, and maybe I'll see something tonight, I don't know, that just, bring something new to the tag team division.
What happens tonight changes the landscape of AEW, but we'll wait until you get there.
Okay, please. I'm tired of things being ruined. I feel like I've been catching myself doing this. Every time I don't finish something, I try to stay off social media so I don't see it. And with the whole Swerve match, I was like, can't wait to see it. Does he actually win the title? I don't know. And then boom, I go on YouTube and I just see Swerve with the title. And I was like, no. I was like 2 matches away. And I was like, I was so close.
You gotta stay away. You gotta stay away.
It's the worst.
A gift and a curse, YouTube.
That's why I said. So I was talking to my friends. I was like, social media just ruins everything nowadays. There's no surprises anymore.
You wish it was 1995, Lewis?
Yo,
is that what you're saying?
yes, constant anticipation and anxiety.
Watching on VCR.
Yep. I don't even think I ever knew how to record anything on VCR, so I never recorded anything.
Oh man. See what you have to do. You have to go to channel 3.
I remember that.
And then input it. Then record. But enough of showing our age here. Let's get into another match here. Title retention. Tony Storm retains over Thunder Rosa. Tony Storm continues her reign. What do you guys think about this matchup where essentially Thunder Rosa was the babyface, but of course everyone's kind of like Rhea Ripley in this case. They love the heel. I'm gonna take this one. Yeah, Tony Storm is killing it, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really watch the whole build up to it, but from what I saw, like the package before the match, definitely an interesting story. Obviously Thunder Rosa's been out for a while. Wasn't sure if she was actually ever going to come back due to injury, but she's back. And I thought it was also interesting that she came out with not her normal face paint, kind of trying to prove like, hey, look, I don't need that to beat you, but it's her Finn Balor demon look. That's what she's going to save it for.
No, I don't know. It's a half demon look.
Half demon.
But yeah, I don't think she didn't get screwed. I mean, I know there was like small interference, right? But it didn't like cost her the match, did it, Brian? So right?
From what I can recall, it kind of did, but
it wasn't Luther, was it, or was it the other girl that came out? I know she came out and like tried to get involved,
whatever her name is.
Yeah. No, wait. Mariah May did come out and try to get involved, and then Deonna Purrazzo came out. So
yeah, it didn't really cost her the match. It was just like a small interference.
It didn't cost her the match, no.
Yeah. But I mean, it was a hard hitting match, and I thought they actually had some really great chemistry in the ring. It's just Tony's character right now is just killing it. and it's like Daniel just said, it's like a Rhea Ripley situation. It's like I think hers is a little different because it's not like who can beat her. It's just like her character's so good. Who's really gonna beat this character? I guess and it's just like it's such a unique presentation that we just haven't seen something like this in so long, and it's just like, what's it gonna take for someone to actually dethrone her? Is it gonna be like it's just somebody who's going to come in looking strong, or is actually, do they have to build another star that's going to be on the same caliber as her to actually dethrone her? But definitely a great match. And her post-conference like media scrum message was great as well. I don't know if you guys...
who did she cuss out? Or
she was just like, I don't feel like talking to you people right now, so I'm just going to read this message and just take it as that. And then she like read it and was just like, she was kind of not talking down to the WWE. She was just like, I think she might have took a few jabs or something, but it was just like, like I'm the show. Like I'm not here like playing around. I forget specifically what she said, but it was like a statement. And she was like, that's all I'm going to say. If you guys got any questions, you're fucking idiots.
Yeah. To pretty much echo Lewis's sentiments. Toni Storm is just on another level as far as the women's division goes in the AEW. That character is just so unique. It's so different. The presentation of it is just next level. This was also a very good match. At the very end, I think so. There wasn't any any interference for the finish per se, but I think Toni Storm may have got like a thumb to the eye or some type of cheap shot before she hit her
I think that's what it was. It might have been something
that's how she ended up winning. I liked how they tried to have the Thunder Rosa coming out without the makeup, to trying to. From a psychological standpoint, I can kind of understand that, to try to she believing in herself so much to take away like an essential part of her character to try to see if she can beat the champion, which is kind of a story in of itself. Definitely something that they can capitalize on moving forward. But this was also a very good match, and I'm glad Toni Storm is pretty much carrying their women's division right now. Well, I don't want to say carrying because they do have a lot of great talent there. But as far as the most impressive part of the division, that's Toni Storm.
Yeah, she's definitely carrying it right now. Just looking at what her character has grown into, and everyone thought this was going to run out. This is not going to work early on, and then it just started catching over. Started getting over, and she's grown the character, right? Like she's becoming more cocky in these press conferences, as Lewis just stated, and just the match itself, you're just seeing her great in-ring work. It's more than just a character, right? Like she's hanging in the ring, she's being a heel at using heel tactics to win and stuff like that. But just the going back and forth with Thunder Rosa, who was off, and as Lewis said, we didn't know if she was going to come back at some point. Or what the deal was, because it was kind of like shaky. Like, was she ever going to come back? How bad was that injury? So for her to come back and kind of have this, I think, Finn Balor kind of demon presence with the paint, I think that's what's going to happen at some point. And I think that's a cool element that we definitely need in the AEW women's division. You need somebody else to have a different character than just being the runner of the muck of a wrestler or somebody's follower. You need somebody else to have something different. And I think that's what Thunder Rosa can provide while they try to figure out outside of this women's division what they're actually going to do. In terms of outside the title picture, what they're going to do. But in terms of what this match was, it was a good match between babyface and heel. Toni Storm picking up the win, and I'm just loving what her character has grown into and has become. Like, it's very entertaining. That's the first thing. It's holding up. And it's being successful. She's having good matches. She's doing what she needs to do, and she's doing her part in the AEW's women's division. And you can't ask more from her. Like, she's awesome right now. She's definitely awesome.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
But let's move on to some other women's action. Willow Nightingale becomes the new TBS champion. over Julia. Is it Julia Hart? If I'm saying that right.
Yep, that's right.
And a showdown with Mercedes Moné is on the way. What do you guys think about this matchup and potential showdown with Mercedes Moné?
To me, this match was pretty straightforward, especially when I saw the reports that Julia Hart was like nursing in like I think like a shoulder injury she was carrying into the match. I mean, she was cleared enough to compete, but once I heard that, I definitely knew that they were going in that direction. For as far as Willow Nightingale goes, I've always been somewhat of a fan of her gimmick. It can be a little bit too happy and perky sometimes, but for the most part, in ring wise, she always gets it done for someone of her size. So glad that she's the TBS champion. I'm just hoping that between now and Double or Nothing that they actually book a couple of title defenses for her, because this clearly looks like the TBS title is going to Mercedes Moné. I mean, they made it pretty clear. They had her come out right after Willow's victory, and obviously, and the Willow Nightingale character is actually a sympathetic character. So people were like behind her when she won it. So Mercedes to come out and pretty much take the moment from her. Everybody is just automatically assuming.
Is she a heel? Is she a heel?
Pretty much. I always thought she was a tweener anyway. Not really.
That's what they need to do for her character. She needs to team up with the Young Bucks.
Yeah, man. I never considered.
That would make sense, though.
It needs to happen. I'm just going to say it right now. Let me create a marker. It's going to happen. We need that to happen.
The CEO and the EVPs.
We need that.
I just hope they book Willow with a couple of title defenses before Double or Nothing, because if not, and she's going into this match with Mercedes Moné with no title defenses, then it's going to be a pretty shitty title run. But obviously, I get the story that they're trying to tell between the two, seeing that Mercedes obviously got injured in her last match against Willow. So that is a story that they are trying to tell. So that's a definite positive. But like I said, they need to get her some title defenses between now and Double or Nothing, because it's very clear who the new TBS champion is going to be.
They're not going to have Willow lose on her first defense. They're not going to have Mercedes Moné lose, so somebody's got to win.
It depends. You never know. Mercedes might actually have a match before Double or Nothing, or did they already make it clear that Double or Nothing was going to be her first match?
I think they said Double or Nothing's her first match.
Then Willow needs to have title defenses before him, because you're not going to have your prize female free agent signing lose her first match. They invested a lot in her financially, apparently, if you believe the reports.
No, you're right. That's why it's like you can't just have a title change in her first match defense. She just loses off rip to Mercedes.
This is why I think this is a mistake, because your highest paid female talent is fighting for the AEW mid-card title.
Maybe she wants all the titles. Maybe she wants all the titles.
For the TBS championship?
You probably okay. I can understand this point of view. Would you really just bring in Mercedes just to catapult her to the top and just go for the AEW?
If you're paying her the type of money that they have reportedly said they're paying her, I would think that.
But at the same time, I would think you'd want to build her up before just catapulting her into the main.
You don't bring in Hulk Hogan to go wrestle. Who was the U.S. champion in '95? Barry Windham. You don't do that.
Barry Windham. Hey, you have some respect now, all right? Show some goddamn respect.
Yeah, but I actually I like because they're kind of doing the same thing with Ospreay right now, with him having these dream matches. When he first got signed, immediately everybody's thinking, okay, he should be a world title contender, but they're actually building him up.
But, he's not stepping in the ring with like
Bryan Danielson.
He's not. It's not like he's stepping in with like a mid card guy. On the TV matches that he's had, but he at least had TV matches. She hasn't really had a TV match, so it's like Are we getting that leading up to Willow, or we'll see? But it's just like I'm wondering what the booking is for her and what path they're going to have for her.
But you know what the scary thing is, and I mean, I'm not doubting Mercedes' work ethic whatsoever, but we also don't really know what she's going to look like, and if she has a bad showing, this her first match and then wins the title, it's just gonna look like a huge bust. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the way she's just been coming out with all the hair stuff and then the extravagant like outfits and stuff. But it's just like, I don't know. I think I need like a reminder, and that's why I think that she should have a match prior to All In to show everybody like, hey, I can still go. I can still do this, because it's been over a year, more than that, since her injury or whatever. So it's like, what are we really in store for? Are we getting top-notch Sasha Mercedes, or is this older?
She can't have a bad showing.
No, I know, but I'm saying it's just a big what if, and if it's a bad what if, then what does that say? The wrestling community is just going to tear her apart.
Yeah, like I think I said this in the chat where I said I think Mercedes Moné and Jade Cargill's booking has been similar, but the execution has been better on WWE's part, how they've been doing it. But with Mercedes, it's just like, I don't know. She got attacked by Julia Hart. Like, is that going to be her first matchup on TV if they go that route? Brian just said that she might be hurt, so it's like I don't know what they're going to do with that. It's just I'm just wondering where the booking is, and it's kind of like how we've been talking about WWE before WrestleMania. Like, we just wonder where this is going to go and how it's going to go, because she definitely has to have a good showing. She can't, and I guess it's good that she's getting in there with somebody comfortable that she know, as Willow Nightingale, as they were in doing the New Japan circuit and stuff like that, in the indie circuit. So hopefully she has a good showing. That's all I'm hoping for.
Yeah, same.
But let's get into another matchup here. Roderick Strong retains against Kyle O'Reilly. O'Reilly. In a hard-hitting affair. Obviously, these guys are friends. They wanted Kyle to join their group. He didn't leading up to this matchup. What do you guys think about this matchup? What do you guys think about this matchup?
Technicians. That's what this match was. It was essentially a great technical match between the two. I mean,
let me say one thing, just not to cut you off, Brian. But is it me, or does Kyle already look way better with longer hair?
No, he does. No,
I don't know what it is.
He looks more. He looks more lethal.
Yeah, he looks more elite.
He looks more badass.
He looks more like a badass with it. No, it's a better look for him.
It's like he went from like old TNA AJ to now long hair AJ.
Good example.
Yeah, but this in itself was a great match. I mean, if you're into the mat wrestling or technical wrestling, I mean, then you'll definitely love this match. I mean, this is definitely a purist's dream as far as a wrestling match goes between the two. I mean, Roderick Strong's Messiah of the backbreaker with some of his moves, and Kyle O'Reilly, the mat techniques, the submissions that he was utilizing, which has always been his strength. But it was a great match. I mean, I understand the story that they were trying to tell with Wardlow coming out in the end. But I wasn't really truly a fan of it until we saw when Adam Cole got into the ring and he gave him that look, and then it's just like, okay, that's okay. So that makes sense. So that makes sense. But it was a great match in of itself, and definitely interesting. Well, see again, Lewis, because you didn't watch Dynamite, we can't talk about it. But
we're not talking about Dynamite. We're talking about Dynamite.
But I'm gonna just say this: Roderick Strong now has a new challenger now for the international championship at Double or Nothing. I'll say that.
Okay. I love this match, and it was honestly I didn't even know this match was taking place until I was like, oh, they're actually gonna face each other, and then I saw the video package, and I was like, oh, this is awesome because I'm a huge Roderick Strong fan. I've been a Roderick Strong fan since he.
Adam!
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't like that in the beginning. I'm like, what are they doing to him? But it caught on. It was actually pretty funny.
It was funny.
It was funny as hell. But I thought, yeah, these two obviously they've known each other for a long time from their Ring of Honor days, and then everything they did together in NXT, which I felt that I will never understand how the Undisputed Era did not just make a full-blown transition to the main roster and just take over. I will never understand that, but I don't want to deep dive into that.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to deep dive into that because I know the exact reason why.
But yeah, I've been a huge Roderick Strong fan, and I don't know. I love his moveset, his precision, his technique, and then honestly, this showing, like, I'm not saying that Colorado wasn't great in NXT because he was, and he had those bangers with Adam Cole as well. And I kind of wanted him to win the NXT title as well. But him just being gone for so long and coming back and just having that showing was pure wrestling excellence, and that's why I was a big fan of the match. What is the reason why Adam Cole was giving Wardlow the look? Was it because he didn't win the title?
Yeah. Remember when he didn't beat Samoa Joe, and then then the next week he was in the chair cutting the promo talking about how disappointed he was in him, and that now his number one duty is to protect the international championship and the Ring of Honor tag team titles in the Undisputed Kingdom. Yeah, so but Adam Cole hasn't been on TV, so a lot of people remember that. So you have to have been watching that.
Their group is just they just need probably honestly rename it at this point because it's just not. I don't know.
It's not good. Let's be honest.
It's not good at all. It's not good at all.
I'll say this much. It may not be good, but let's say it was forced to come together way too early because the primary leader is injured. That's the reason why it was forced together way too soon.
They could have dragged it out. They could have dragged it out.
But remember, it started because of that Devil storyline. Remember how people were complaining about it and how if they drew that storyline out any longer, people would have just said forget about it. And MJF was hurt.
They could have revealed Adam Cole, and then they could have had Kyle O'Reilly be like the damsel in distress or be the guy that gets turned on, and then Roderick finally teams up with him or whatever the case may be. But it's just like something. I feel like that.
They could have like revealed Adam Cole, but not reveal everybody else. I guess.
Yeah. That would have been. Like it made sense that it was Adam Cole. Like everybody knew it was Adam Cole. Like nobody thought it was anybody else.
I mean. I didn't think it was him just because he was injured, but I think that's just the downfall. It was like because you're not gonna have somebody who's injured coming out week in and week out calling the shots. I guess I don't know. It just
exactly
it doesn't make for good storytelling when like the main guy can't get attacked.
When Kurt Angle was GM, he was in the wheelchair.
I mean,
this is also the early 2000s, Dan.
I'm just saying, but on this match, just two technicians. Again, we all know what Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly bring to the table. As Lewis was saying, both these guys in NXT, I wanted them to have a higher level of success, and I thought that was going to be Roderick Strong with the Diamond Mind. Eventually, he was going to be able to move his way up, and then that just got stripped away out of nowhere. Yeah. As for Kyle O'Reilly, I always wanted him to beat Adam Cole for the title, and have that reign and have some stability there in NXT, especially when everyone was kind of leaving and going away or being released. I thought he could have had some staying power, and they let him go. As for this match, you just see how great he was, and you saw what he was in the Indies and in New Japan and all that stuff, and it's just like these guys. It kind of reminds me of like the Four Horsemen with Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko and Eddie Guerrero and Perry Saturn. Like those guys are just hard hitting. You know what the match is going to be. I kind of get that feel from these guys. So awesome match from these guys. And Roderick Strong continuing his reign. And he has some trouble coming on the way when Lewis catches up at some point. But let's continue to go on here. The show opener, actually, we have Okada retaining against Pac. And I like this match because I thought it showed Okada being a heel a little bit more, like he's having those heel antics in the ring. And Pac, even though he gets hurt and he might go away for a little bit, he always comes back, and you know what you're going to get from him. But ultimately, what do you guys think about this match as Okada retains the Continental Championship against Pac?
Yeah, it was Continental title.
Yep. That he won from Eddie Kingston. Yep.
I thought this was a great showing for both wrestlers. I don't know. I feel like this was probably one of the better showings of Okada. I feel like he had a great match against Bryan Danielson, but Pax I feel like is a bit faster and like a little
more New Japan pro wrestling style.
Yeah, I think he just has like a faster style, and it's just like to see Okada go against that. I feel like I need to watch more like old Okada stuff just to like familiarize myself with like his style and what he can actually do, because like all I kept hearing was just Jim Ross. It's like the man has the perfect drop kick, and I feel like I've heard so many times like they just keep emphasizing his damn drop kick. I'm like, is it that beautiful? And I saw it, and I'm like, the drop kick.
Yeah, they said it's the best drop kick in the business. Yeah,
apparently.
It's Ricky Steamboat-esque. Like Ricky Steamboat.
I guess.
More moves.
I'm just saying I'm not super impressed by a drop kick. But definitely a great match. Showing I'm a huge Pac guy. Same thing back from NXT days to what he did in the cruiserweight, and this character that he has now, I think is a great showing for him. I also liked how the crowd was definitely behind him. Sucks that Okada's hot right now, just became champ. Obviously, I think we knew off rip he wasn't going to take the title off of him, but I feel like they should give Pac a chance. Pac's a guy that looks great, presents well, is hard hitting, fast, strong. Like, I feel like you give him a chance to like have like a running for a title. Like, I don't think he would disappoint. I think just the only thing is probably him just staying healthy. I think that's maybe one thing that's maybe plagued him a little bit, but Okada looked great, definitely looked great as a heel, and obviously looks like he's going to have a great run with this title.
Yeah, he's definitely going to have a great run. Yeah, I don't picture him losing this Continental title anytime soon. I mean, they said on Dynamite that the way it works is that they are going to have another Continental Classic again at the end of the year, and then like the title's going to be up for grabs again. So they said that was going to be like a yearly thing. So that's they're
trying to make it like the G1 Classic or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is good, honestly.
So by that time, he's still going to be champion. Now he's not losing anytime.
And that's one thing. That's one thing that AEW has been good with these tournaments and type of battles that last a couple months. So I think that's something that's going to be good, especially it's up Okada's wheelhouse. And of course, when you got these competitors, you got Kyle O'Reilly. Potentially Roderick Strong. You got all these guys that are good technicians, good wrestlers. Definitely could be interesting to see how that cleans up at the end of the year. So hopefully they build that and hopefully he can defend it before that. But we'll see what comes of that. But just a great showing from these two guys. Good to see Pac back in the ring. What was he out for? Was he hurt again?
Either injury or a visa issue. Both. I don't know.
Yeah.
But either way, let's get into something that tickles my heart, because I've been saying this for a little while. Chris Jericho gets roll away heat as he defeats Hook for the FTR championship.
FTW.
FTW, my bad.
Yeah, have some respect for Taz, man.
Are we really respecting this title?
That's what I was gonna say, Lewis. That's what. But
we are respecting the title.
Obviously, the match is what it was. Hardcore match, hard hitting affair. But ultimately, during this match, Chris Jericho was getting butchered by the fans in attendance. What do you guys think about that in the match overall?
See, and that was the thing. And like I said, the only match to me that came off as a little bit disappointing was this match with Jericho and Hook, and it was only disappointing from the standpoint of because AEW's primary strength is like in-ring match quality, and because it's Chris Jericho, and you know he really likes to slow things down and make his spots mean something. I feel like this match would have been suited better if it was in a WWE ring in front of a WWE audience. That's just my personal opinion between these two. But yeah, because people have been saying online that like this match was the worst match of the card, which says a lot. Which says a lot because almost every match delivered. So, but like Daniel mentioned, Jericho getting this go away heat right now. I think a part of it is because like lately, well, not lately, since he's been in AEW, he's kind of been booked like how Big Show used to be booked in WWE with all of these constant baby face and heel turns. I mean, he flips back and forth a lot. Like he'll be a baby face for 2 months, then he's in a feud with somebody, and then he's a heel again, and then somehow he's a baby face again and with another group, and then like he flip flops a lot from heel and baby face. And I think people are starting to get like kind of starting to catch on to it now, and it's starting to get a little get annoying. And also on top of it, that's something else that I noticed, that a lot of his storylines right now are all kind of going in kind of like the same direction of him being the veteran with a younger guy. And obviously we know what the end goal is, to elevate the younger guy. But at the same time, if you're doing that feud like 5 times in a row, then it's like I mean but like by that point in time, it's just like, yeah, I mean, Jericho can make these guys, but at the same time, I mean, you kind of sacrificing, you know, the legend in Chris Jericho by if he's elevating so many guys all at once. I mean, you still gotta, you know, protect his prestige, as they say, of Chris Jericho. But that's just my opinion. I mean, the match ended the way that it did, you know, with the baseball bat. No, as far as Hook goes, you know, he's definitely improved. You know, the only thing they need to work on with Hook is just his character work and, like, you know, the mic work and stuff. But that was never really a strength of his father's either. So that's just something that it'll definitely get better with time. But yeah, you know, like Jericho, like Daniel said, with Jericho getting all this heel heat right now, you know, I just think that just a combination of the way he's been booked lately.
I mean, I've just been saying for years, over like the past couple of years in AEW, I'm like, how are we going to keep seeing the same thing? And it's not like it's an Undertaker thing or who's somebody else that comes back, like a Brock Lesnar thing or
John Cena
type thing. It's like, yo, you're on TV all the time. We're getting the same stuff essentially all the time. You either team up with a young budding star, end up feuding with them, and then they get over eventually at some point, or he wins most of the time. And it's just like, we keep getting the same thing. And it's like, when are we going to get a different type of Jericho, or just put Jericho on commentary? Like, he does not need to be wrestling to this degree all the time. He doesn't. He does not.
Hey, he's the learning tree now. Okay? You show some goddamn respect for the learning tree.
I mean, Daniel, you watch Dynamite. They kind of are doing that. As far as him, yeah, I can't even say it. but you watch Dynamite, you see where they're in the direction they're going with.
Yeah.
So I will say, now that I'm thinking about it more, at first when Daniel was saying, "Oh, we're doing the same thing," I was like, "He's not really doing." I'm like, "Well, he kind of is." Like, he's had these stables, you know. I mean, I understood it from the perspective in the beginning. Like, he created the groups. Like, he had Sammy Guevara. Then he had not Wardlow. What's his other name? What was the We the People? Jack Hager.
Jake Hager, yeah.
Yeah, Jake Hager. And, you know, it's just like, I don't know. I think Chris Jericho's time in the ring might be coming.
It needs to come to an end. It's just
they should maybe start making it like, all right, like, we haven't, like, not like you said, Dan, like he shouldn't be on TV every single week. Like you can have him maybe like, all right, if he wants to start mentoring people, okay, have him become successful. Like mentor. Look, I'm getting you like.
Okay, see, I kind of disagree with that. I kind of think they kind of need Jericho on TV every single week.
No.
As far as ratings and viewership goes, yeah, you kind of need Chris Jericho on TV.
Okay, I only agree with. I don't know. Maybe my thing was, and only because recently he doesn't even use the Fozzy song, and I feel like that was the main thing people were, and like even when we went to AEW, I was like, I had to sing that song at least once live in my like lifetime because I thought that song was just so great. But now he's been doing the Lionheart thing, and it's like I know he's been always about reinventing himself and everything, but like
exactly. And eventually,
after the Ocho was fine, but then what was it? The Wizard was stupid. Then he went back to Lionheart, which is like, what does that even mean? You're not young, and now he's the Learning Tree. It's just like
Lionheart was the beginning. That's why he's going back to the beginning.
No, this is what Jericho needs to do. He needs to team up with the Big Show and just bury the younger talent. That's the next level.
Just give that fist to everybody.
Chris Jericho, if you're listening, just team up with Big Show again.
No.
And just bury the younger talent.
No.
Make it fun. Just bury the young guys. They can't beat them.
See, I think he should just become a manager. I think, and that's my thing. If they would have did this Hook thing right, if anything, it should have been, okay, they wrestled, you beat them. Hey, you have my respect, blah, blah, blah. Manage him. Get Hook getting all these wins, and then when he finally doesn't listen to you, then you have this big match. I feel like it was like they teamed up, then 2 weeks later, oh, you're not listening to me. Oh, I pushed your dad. All right, let's have a match and fight again.
It's a missed opportunity.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
Exactly. It was a rush.
Especially when they're trying
to. But it could also be a thing where I'm hearing stuff about Hook possibly, becoming a free agent and checking that out, maybe going to WWE. I don't know. Could be.
If Taz is in this air, it's not happening.
You don't think so?
Yeah, I actually said that. I actually commented on that on a post on social media saying that because I thought because Taz is still bitter about his whole WWE run, even though it's a new company now and he should come with a fresh mindset. You never know; he might still hold.
If there was ever a time for Hook to leave, it is right now.
Yeah. Because I mean, look how long he's been there. And the only title he's ever gotten is his dad's title. Like, come on.
But he would be so NXT.
Yeah.
He would fit NXT like a glove if he went there.
He could easily become the next Braun Breaker if they trained him well. Like he has the core stuff there. He just needs a little more tuning and tweaking, and then if he can find promo skills, he'll be amazing.
NXT, Hook, make it happen. Just go to NXT. All right, but let's move on from Chris Jericho's potential retirement. Let's move on to House of Black standing tall over Edge, Eddie Kingston, and Jay Briscoe, the TNT champion, the ROH champion, and he's not the Triple Crown champion anymore.
No, what is it? He's just the New Japan
Strong Style champion.
Strong Openweight champion.
But what do you guys think about this match? House of Black standing tall over this trio.
Thank God, House of Black actually got a win.
No. We talking about loose. They always get wins on Collision and such, man. They
supposedly they don't like taking losses. Right?
There was a story in the dirt sheets that they don't like taking losses. That's what but then
I don't believe that.
They came out and told Meltzer to shut the hell up. But that was interesting. But honestly. Because I saw obviously because I actually watched Collision, so I saw how the build for this match. It pretty much was a situation where Malachi Black came out after one of Edge's matches, and then Eddie Kingston and Mark Briscoe just came to his aid because Mark Briscoe has been going at the House of Black for the longest time, and then Eddie Kingston helped Mark Briscoe. So. Honestly, I thought this match had just been one-on-one with Adam Copeland against Malachi Black for the TNT title. I didn't see the need for the 6-man. It was your typical AEW 6-man matches, which are very good in ring match wise as far as certain sequences and timing and such. And the finish with Malachi Black using the mist on Adam Copeland and then getting the win. So that may be leading to a one-on-one TNT title match moving forward. So that's the only thing I'm looking forward to from this. Other than that, wasn't really interested in this match. Was kind of like drifting in and out of it while it was on.
Yeah, same. I think for me with this match, it was just like nothing was on the line. It was just 3 guys fighting another 3 guys. But I mean, I'm a big House of Black fan, and I like their style and their hard hitting and everything. I'm a big Malachi Black fan as well, and Brody King. Actually, all of them. I don't know why I just repeated that, but yeah, I'm a big fan of all of them, and glad that they got the win. Now with with Malachi Black hitting Edge with the mist, does this mean that we're gonna get evil Adam Copeland now? Because isn't that what he did to Julia Hart, and she became all evil and turned into the House of Black? Are we gonna get Judgment Day Edge back again?
My whole thing about this is just looking at House of Black. Just like, shouldn't they be in a more prominent role? Like, Malachi Black is this awesome wrestler. Brody King is this awesome wrestler.
I mean, they're confined. They're confined to Collision. Like they're never on Dynamite. Like Collision is their show. They're on Collision every week. So
they should be causing havoc.
Yeah.
Like in prominent roles, tag team division, they should be in that. World Heavyweight Championship, they should be in that. Like, what are we doing with House of Black? They're awesome in the ring. Their presentation is dope.
Yeah,
they have
Brody King's a bona fide star. Buddy Murphy's like amazing athlete. Malachi Black is so precise. Like they should each have a title. Like
there's enough title, and maybe this is setting up potentially like each one of those guys are going to challenge, maybe Jay Briscoe or Eddie Kingston,
Mark Briscoe.
Oh, take each title.
Yeah, and just take each title and maybe have some staying power, because it's like these guys are good enough to stand on their own, but they can still operate as a unit.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
That should be what they're doing with House of Black, and I mean, hopefully that's what this is doing. But it's just like I thought there would have just been more of House of Black.
Yeah,
but overall, AEW Dynasty was a success. I thought, especially after the heels of the CM Punk video and Tony Khan and all the stuff happening with this company that we've been questioning for the past 6 months. Finally coming to fruition here, where it just had a great night. Well, not a good, let me rephrase that. A great night of wrestling. So kudos to those guys for stepping up and being awesome. Like really showing the showcasing of what wrestling fans want, which is wrestling. So kudos to them for that. And because Lewis hasn't caught up yet, we're just going to hold off on the extra stuff. But let's move on to our main wrestling